This is Hardknott Pass. Nestled in the southwestern Lake District, a climb legendary amongst British cyclists and infamous for its brutal gradient. It's one of the final tests in the Fred Whitten Challenge, but today is my test. The climb is 2.5 kilometres with an average gradient of over 15%, but that's only part of the story. Its steepest ramps reach over 30% in places. My target, completing the climb in 11 minutes at an average power of 350 watts, or 5.5 watts per kilo.
First ride on the BMC then. We're going to have a go at seeing how close the KOM I can get on Hardknott. Hardknott's an absolutely brute of a steep climb, probably one of the toughest in the country. Crazy steep hairpins on it. So that's what I'm going up. You can see the top right there in that little dip in the hillside. Here we go then, we're about to give it a crack. Let's go.
I've just crossed the iconic red telephone box at the foot of the climb, and now it's time to cross the castle grid and onto the open fell side. This is where the real climb begins. The gradient immediately kicks up to over 20%, and from here it's a relentless battle against gravity. I'm pushing close to and sometimes over my target of 350 watts just to keep the cranks turning. Holding that for 11 minutes, well, that's going to be a serious challenge. This first section of the climb is a constant grind. My cadence is barely above 50 RPM, and pacing an effort like this is nearly impossible. Did I go too hard too early? Maybe. But on a climb like this, combined with my 36/28 minimum gear, I often don't have a choice but to push over 360 watts, just to keep the cranks turning. Around the halfway mark, the gradient eases off just a little. It might look like a chance to recover, but I'm really struggling to hold my power here. The effort I put in early on is catching up to me, and it's tough to find a steady rhythm. The final set of hairpins, the hardest part of the climb. The gradient kicks back up to over 30% in places, and the road twists through a series of steep, narrow corners. To make things worse, a stream is even flowing right down the middle of the road, and there's debris everywhere from last night's storm. Traction is everything now. One wrong move and I'll lose all my momentum. I had a puncture on my way out earlier today on my thin race tyres, so now I'm riding extra carefully, dodging the debris and watching every line. Something else on the back of my mind is how I'm going to get back down off the mountain after the effort. Well, let's just say it gets a bit sketchy. The visibility is awful and the conditions are poor, but all that matters is getting to the top as quickly as I can now. The gradient's getting a bit shallower here, and it's easy to get distracted and ease off the power, but I'm trying to squeeze out every last watt I have.
I did not do a good effort up there. Really not with it today. Struggling to even hold 300 watts. But about 12.5 minutes. So that's what oh, you cannot see a thing there. It is completely foggy. Anyway, time to get back down and get some food in me. I'm kind of bricking it about this descent though. It's going to be proper sketchy on my hill climb bike. These brakes are not designed for 1 in 3 descents. This is terrifying! Feels like I'm going off a cliff!
Okay, so let's talk about how it went. As you saw, I really struggled to hold the power, especially towards the top, averaging only about 315 watts, which is well below my usual 20-minute power of around 330 watts. I finished the climb in 12 minutes and 40 seconds, which puts me at 103rd out of nearly 30,000 people on Strava and 6th this year, which is a really respectable showing, but I know I can do a lot better. There are a few reasons why I think I didn't hit my power target today. Firstly, I did a really hard gravel ride yesterday, so I don't think my legs were the freshest. Secondly, I have been feeling a bit under the weather lately, so I don't think that helped. But the main issue was pacing. I had to push far too hard for the first 5 minutes just to keep up with the gradient, which definitely caught up with me later on in the climb. I'm definitely going to give the climb another shot next year, hopefully in some better conditions with some lower gearing. If you'd like to see me reattempt the climb next year and see if I can attempt to get a top 10, like and subscribe down below so you don't miss it. And if you've got any other suggestions for famous climbs you want me to tackle and put a video together about, please do let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think and which climbs you want to see next. Anyway, that's it for today's effort up Hardknott Pass. It was a tough ride, but I'm glad I stuck with it, even if I didn't quite hit my numbers. It's all part of the process, and I'm already looking forward to giving it another shot when the conditions are better. Thanks so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button down below and subscribe for more cycling challenges and training videos. And don't miss my upcoming video on how I managed to build my ultimate BMC hill climb machine for less than £1,000. See you all in the next one.